Hello YouTube, it is B3 and Pip the doggo, Pip the good girl, back with another B3 Reads. Today we are continuing Monster Island by Wrath of Kitty on Wattpad, and we have 4 more chapters to go, I believe. Ooh, that's an ass. That's a nice ass. Hey, show me that ass, big girl. Ooh. We got 4 more chapters. So I'm thinking about doing 2 chapters each video from now on, which will be 2 more videos, and then we will be done with this long fan fiction. Ooh, she likes that. She liked the booty scratches. So this chapter is called Her Final Stand. Seems like Mothra might die or some shit. I don't know. One thing I like about this author is they're willing to kill off characters. They're willing to kill off characters. And that's interesting to me. So here we go. Godzilla went back to the cave Mothra was in. She laid there. She looked up at him. "You've beat him already?" And yes, I have. She was quite weak. Yeah, they're talking about Mecha Ghidorah. Not Mecha King Ghidorah, Mecha Ghidorah, who had 2 male heads and a female head. So, yeah, they called it Ghidorah's brother throughout the other chapters it was in. And then as soon as Godzilla encountered them, they were a woman. But they were mostly male? I don't understand. "Godzilla, I need you. We can heal my wing." "How?" She held out her leg. Godzilla held it. His hand and her leg began to glow. In a matter of seconds, Mothra wing healed. "I can fly now. Where are we going?" So this is the 3rd time Mothra's been severely injured in this book. And the other 2 times it took her years to heal. But she could have just done that the whole time. Whatever. "Ghidorah had another brother, Kaiser Ghidorah, I think," he said. "So you're leaving again?" "Yes, but will you come with me?" She gasped. "You want me to help?" "Yes, if you'll go." "Of course." Mothra had no idea what she was getting into. Gucci Gang. Mothra and Godzilla wandered through the forest. They had no idea what or who Kaiser was, but they would soon find out. A strange scent filled Godzilla's nose. "Wait," Godzilla said. Mothra halted. Godzilla flicked his tongue out. The scent was stronger. It smelled awfully like Mecha. He looked around. "Someone's here," he whispered to Mothra. She tensed. "There's nothing, love," Godzilla said. "Is that so?" a voice said. Godzilla flung his head away from Mothra. "Show yourself," Godzilla yelled. "You can't see me," it said. The forest caught fire. Godzilla gasped. "Run!" Mothra froze. "Run!" Godzilla shoved Mothra. She flew higher and folded her wings back and spread through the air. She looked back. "Don't look back, Mothra," Godzilla yelled. Mothra looked forward and flew faster. She heard him roar. She looked back. He stood in front of what looked like a dragon, on fire. She saw Godzilla try to hit him with his tail, but pulled back with a burnt tail. The dragon lowered one of its 3 heads and hit Godzilla. He flew and hit his head on a tree. Why invite Mothra to help you fight if you're going to make her run the second that anything happens? And why would she even go if she was going to run the second anything happened? All they saw was fire, and she ran. This was before the dragon even showed himself. "Godzilla!" Mothra shrieked. She flew at full speed to the dragon. "There we go. Thank you." She hit it right on the back of one of its heads. It roared in anger and turned to face her. Its eyes were dark red. It roared, and the flames grew larger and hotter. The heat was too much for Mothra. She fled. Again. She flew as fast as she could through the flaming forest. She looked back. While she was doing this, her wing touched a flaming tree. She didn't notice. She looked for Godzilla. Why not just fly over the trees? I don't know. She couldn't find him. All she saw were flames and smoke. She grew hotter. Fear bubbled inside her, and she flew faster. Great wind gusts flew from her wings every time she flapped her wings. What she didn't know is that wind makes fire stronger. Oh my god. She grew hotter. She couldn't take it. She flew straight up higher and higher, hotter and hotter, higher and higher. Then she stopped, but her wings still flapped. She began to fall, faster and faster. She screamed. She spun around. The heat was unbearable. She had a searing pain all over her body. She opened her eyes. She was on fire. She spun around, desperate to put out the flames. It didn't work. Nothing worked. She screamed. Her voice was filled with pain and fear. She fell, closer and closer to the ground. Her back faced the ground, and what was left of her wings pointed straight up. She was done fighting. She couldn't do it anymore. She didn't fight really at all. She just hit him on the back of the head one time. Oh my god. Godzilla opened his eyes. The world spun for a moment. Something caught his eye. He got up in his shaky legs and looked up. It looked like a flame was falling from the sky. Then he gasped. That falling flame was Mothra. He ran as fast as he could. Mothra was very close to the ground. He held out his arms. She landed in them, and he fell to his knees. He ignored the pain of his skin burning. He held her. Even though he couldn't see her beautiful wings, he could see her bright blue eyes staring up at him. "Please," she whispered. He nodded and clamped his jaws around her neck, ending her pain. He carefully put her burning body on the ground beside him. Her beautiful blue eyes had turned black. He could barely see, but he didn't care. He would find that horrible Kaiser and kill him. He looked through the burning forest, but the dragon had vanished. He stomped his foot and brought down a tree with his tail. Where was he? What a shitty way to kill off your female lead. Barely any build-up. Didn't even really die in combat. Godzilla didn't have to struggle with the emotions of putting her down? What a shitty way to kill off your female lead. That was really bad. "Kaiser, show yourself," he yelled. Nothing answered. "Kaiser," he yelled, "where are you?" "Over here, ha ha ha!" Something moved swiftly through the smoke beside him. Godzilla spun around and looked. "Face me," he roared. "Face me," it mocked. "Where are you? Where are you?" Godzilla was about to explode with anger. "Stop mocking me! Stop mocking me! You coward, weakling!" So this author does a pretty decent job of describing things. Like, I think they actually do a pretty good job a lot of the time, but their dialogue is just bad. He turned around. Something wrapped around his neck and he fell to his stomach. He dug his claws into the ground as he was being dragged. He was dragged from the burning forest into a meadow. Then it released him. "Okay, Godzilla, you have me now. Fight me," said Kaiser. Godzilla pushed himself up. "No, I won't," he said. Kaiser looked surprised. "Not yet," Godzilla said, and ran. Okay. Alright. That's the end of that chapter. And the next chapter is called Thalia. Godzilla awoke with a start. Sweat rolled down his green scales. He gasped for breath. He slowly pushed himself up on shaky arms. He tried not to remember his nightmare. Nightmare! Nightmare! But it was the only thing on his mind. He felt so alone without his Mothra. Oh, I thought the whole thing was a nightmare. And this is... But she is actually dead. He shook his head and collapsed back onto the ground. He sighed loudly. He missed Mothra and Biolante. Dude, you're such a piece of shit. He had only gone back to the Earth Defender territory once, to check on Leo, Komodo, and Anguirus. Leo was nowhere to be found. He didn't want to look for his body. Anguirus was wounded, but nowhere near death. He gave Godzilla Komodo's body. They said nothing to each other. Godzilla had seen his dead daughter, nodded respectfully, and left. He had been gone for 2 months. He had no idea where he was. He thought he was in the territory that belonged to no one. He thought. This is fucking stupid. God. That's right, because Leo went with Mothra when she left Godzilla, and then he wasn't there when Godzilla found Mothra. So, we don't know what happened to Leo. He could show up by the end. If Leo shows up by the end, I'll be happy. If Leo never shows up again and is just missing, that'll be really stupid. Godzilla felt something prodding at his side. He became annoyed. This was the only good sleep he'd gotten since Mothra's death. Her shitty, shitty death. Godzilla lifted his head. It was another monster. He looked familiar. Then Godzilla knew. "Baragon?" Godzilla asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Baragon growled. "What are you doing in my den?" "Your den? You haven't been here in months. Do you want to fight?" "I don't think I could if I tried," Godzilla admitted. Baragon laughed, surprised. "The great Godzilla can't fight me. I have other things on my mind." "Who? Mothra?" he chuckled. "Are you upset because she said no to mating?" "You two have done it like 100 times. Oh my god, what awful, awful, shitty dialogue. I'm kind of glad Baragon's back, but just awful dialogue. Godzilla stood up and raised his tail in a threatening pose. "Oh, feisty, ain't ya?" Baragon said. "Mothra is dead," Godzilla growled. Baragon was silent for a moment. "Why, did you get so angry because she wouldn't mate with you, so you killed her?" "Fuck, Baragon, what a dick move." Godzilla roared and sliced Baragon's jaws open. Baragon gasped and crouched down, showing submission. What a bitch monster. He was a bitch monster when they were kids, and he's a bitch monster now. Godzilla opened his mouth to say something, but then clamped it shut. Godzilla raced past him to the ocean. He could have that stupid den. He was going to Monster Island. Wow. Godzilla swam, keeping a lookout. Maybe his friend Mando would come. Mando was the one who gave him the power to breathe underwater. Then he felt something swim past him. It's just a fish, he thought. Then it stopped right in front of him. Hi, Godzilla. I haven't seen you in a while. It was Manda. Manda, it's so great to see you. How have you been doing? I'm fine. Where's your lady, who I saved a year or two ago? She's dead. Great Thalia, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. It's fine. She was killed by Kaiser Ghidorah. I've never heard of him. Wait, you said Thalia. Who is she? Or he? She's a she. God, the dialogue. Once again, they need to work on their dialogue. She, okay. Who is she? Is she the water goddess or something? Not exactly. She's more powerful than any monster. She can shapeshift into anything. This is so stupid. She sounds very powerful. She is also all-knowing. Ask her any question and she'll know the answer. Really? Yes, I've met her. Her element is ice and water. So in every form she can turn things into ice and bend water. The most impressive form to me is her mermaid form. Cunt! Mermaid form? Godzilla asked. The word was foreign to him. A mermaid is a half fish, half monster. Wouldn't that just be a monster, though? A fish monster? Gah! Fuck me. The top part has soft pink skin with light or dark fur on its head. The bottom part is similar to a dolphin's tail, just much bigger. Thalia has a blue tail with black fur. Dolphins are mammals, dude. Where does she live? I wish to meet her. Swim north until you feel your scales start to freeze. Until you see the great ice towers. Until you see the great winged beast fly in the sky. The tailed beauty swimming in the ocean. Or the winged wolf running through the snow. Swim north until you feel the scales start to freeze, Manda said, and was off. Every time Godzilla's about to go to Monster Island, the title of the story, he gets distracted. Because many, many chapters ago, he asked Mothra to go back with him. And then for years, they just never went. It's the title of the story. Godzilla recalled his words. Swim north until you feel your scales start to freeze. Which was north? Just look at the sun, dude. Godzilla swam a little in all directions. The water temperatures changed with each stroke. One path was hot, two were normal, and one was cold, until you feel your scales start to freeze. Godzilla decided to take the warmest trail. What? As he swam, it became very cold. Ice started to form on his scales. It must be getting close, Godzilla thought. He swam quicker. Then his eyelids felt heavy. He was so cold. He closed his eyes, falling down to the depths of the ocean, his body temperature dropping dramatically. All went dark. Someone just shot off a firework or some shit. Godzilla opened his eyes. The water was freezing, but he didn't mind for some reason. Godzilla, something called. Hello? It's me. Who? Godzilla didn't recognize this voice. The water turned right around him. Something swam to him. Who are you? Have you already forgotten me? Then Godzilla knew who this was. I haven't forgotten you, Mothra. He saw her swim into sight. It was like she was flying underwater. He knew Mothra couldn't swim. Good, but may I ask, why are you in the coldest part of the ocean? I'm looking for Thalia. Thalia? Godzilla, you know she is very dangerous, right? No, I didn't know that. She can take your life very easily. Then I'm dangerous to some monsters too, right? No, you wouldn't kill anyone who isn't guilty of something. Once again, just shit dialogue. I don't think I'm guilty, Mothra. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. You're wasting your long rest by worrying about me. I know. It's time to wake up now. She placed her nose on his. I love you. I love you too, she said. Godzilla lifted his head. He was laying on something cold. He pushed himself up. An ice tower. He found it. Thalia, I'm here. Where are you? He didn't see anything happen. What if I'm in the wrong place, Godzilla thought. Then the water started to ripple. A strange-looking creature emerged from the water, but only half of it came onto the ice tower. It must be a mermaid, like the one Amanda told him about. Mermaid, a.k.a. Thalia. And then there's a link to a picture of a mermaid. Fuck me. Do you know where Thalia is? You wish to speak to Thalia? This is what she sounds like. She sounds like the blue cat. You don't have to watch the whole video just until you've heard the blue cat. And then there's no link to a video. Just describe the voice. Blue cat. Do you mean the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland? That's all I can think of. Yes, do you know her? She laughed. Yes, I know her. I am her. Godzilla now felt embarrassed. Thalia was probably the only mermaid alive. Oh. Come to my den. I see your scales have started to freeze. Follow me. Godzilla followed her. As she emerged from the water, he saw a bright blue light, and a beautiful winged beast flew from the light. What you see when she's transforming. And then another link to a picture. Stupid. Just describe it! Just describe it like an actual author would do. Come on, she said. Thalia in normal form, for she is in now. And then there's a picture of a DeviantArt feathered dragon, and it's just a link to it. It's not the actual picture. Once again, learn to describe things. Do the work yourself. He didn't know if he could follow her. He couldn't rip his eyes away from her. He shook his head. He wouldn't betray Mothra. What? Betray Mothra? You mean like when you fucked Biollante? If you fucked Thalia, it wouldn't be betraying Mothra, would it? Because she's fucking dead. You're single. Betray her memory? Would it do that? Fucking Biollante would probably betray her memory, but Biollante's also dead. He walked inside her den. It was filled with smaller, shinier ice towers. It was beautiful. Tell me what you want to know. Can you tell me what dead monsters are doing? Sort of. Look into this pool, she said, and pointed to a small blue pool. Say the name. This must be the same type of pool that, Ghidorah has, or a similar type of pool. He looked at his reflection. Biollante, he said. Really? Your mate just died, you're checking on your frickin' mistress? Dude. Not cool! The world went dark. Godzilla opened his eyes. Where was he? It was warm, and the grass came up to his knees. It was also glowing and sparkling. Godzilla? He looked back. Biollante, he exclaimed. They ran to each other and touched noses. He was just thinking he wouldn't betray Mothra by fucking the goddess, and now he's kissing Biollante! Wait, have you died? No, I'm not sure why I'm here. I just wanted to make sure you are safe. She smiled. There's someone who wants to see you. Just then he saw Komodothrax, his daughter. Daddy! Komodo, I miss you. He ran up to her and scooped her up in his arms. She had died a hatchling, so he was still able to hold her. You didn't have to tell me that. Daddy, how is Leo? He's not dead. I don't think so. I haven't seen him around here. Godzilla couldn't believe it. His son was alive. Do you know where Batra is, he asked. No, he walks far from here, Komodo said. I wish I could see him. I want to apologize to him. I know, I do too. Godzilla, I think your time is up. You're starting to fade, Biollante said. He put Komodo down and licked her cheek. He went up to Biollante. I love you, he said. I love you too. She pressed her nose onto his. You're a dick. 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 Oh my god. Godzilla could still scent Biollante. He pushed himself up. Do you know what you want to know? Yes, where is Gigan, he asked. Your mate just died and you went to talk to Biollante, you fucking stupid ass bitch ass. You were a bad mate to Mothra. She deserved better than you, you absolute cunt. Holy shit. Oh my god. You know what? That's the end of that chapter. But to be completely honest, we don't have much more to go. So, you want to just finish it in this video? Let's just finish it in this video. Okay, so this one is called Dream Battle. Ugh. You wish to know where Gigan is, Thalia asked. Yes, Godzilla said. Interesting, someone came looking for him not too long ago. Who? I've learned not to tell others who have been here. Godzilla sighed. All right, let me see where he is. He closed his eyes and everything went dark. It was probably Ghidorah. Godzilla felt like he was falling. He looked around. All he could see was darkness. He roared loudly and heard it echo off what felt like walls. All of a sudden, he felt dirt under his feet. He saw a small light in the distance. He ran on all fours to the light. Almost there, he thought. Suddenly, he was in the mutant territory. He stood up and looked around. There wasn't a monster in sight. The green air was gone, too. He took one step and the earth crumbled beneath him and fell into what looked like some sort of arena. "Hello, Godzilla. I didn't expect to see you here. How are you? I heard Mothra died. How upsetting," a monster growled. Godzilla narrowed his eyes. "Gigan," he growled. Gigan sneered. "I suppose you didn't come to check in on me, did you?" "Shut up," Godzilla roared. "Calm, calm. No need to get excited." Godzilla lunged at him, claws outstretched. Gigan disappeared at the last second, reappearing on the other side of the arena. "Too slow," he said. Godzilla growled and pounced again. Gigan did the same thing. "Fight, you coward," Godzilla hissed. Gigan lifted his blade. The earth seemed to shift under Godzilla's feet. Godzilla fell sideways and landed on his arm. Godzilla winced as he tried to get up. "Oh dear, is it broken?" Gigan asked. Godzilla ran at him, expecting him to disappear again, which is exactly what he did. Godzilla slashed the air and felt himself strike skin. Gigan reappeared on the ground, lying on his side with a deep gash in his side. Godzilla bared his teeth and clamped his jaws around Gigan's arm and lifted him up. He clenched his fist around his neck, digging his claws into his throat. Gigan made a choking sound as a satisfying amount of blood sprayed from Gigan's throat onto Godzilla's arms. Then he disappeared. Godzilla stood there confused. Gigan reappeared behind him. He stabbed one of his blades through Godzilla's stomach. Godzilla's jaws gaped as blood sprayed from his jaws. Gigan yanked his blade out and threw Godzilla across the arena. He lay on his side, blood pouring from his stomach. Then he felt someone grab his arm. He opened his eyes and saw Thalia staring at him. "Are you okay?" she asked. He looked at his stomach. There was no gaping hole and his arm wasn't broken. "Yes, I'm fine," he said, pushing himself up. "Where will you go now?" she asked. "To the place where I should have lived," he said, walking towards the water. "Good luck," she said. He dove under the water and swam towards Monster Island. "I'll find you, King Ghidorah. I'll find you and kill you, no matter what it takes. I will avenge all the monsters you've killed. Beware, Ghidorah, I'm coming to kill you." This chapter was completely pointless. This chapter was completely 100% pointless. Are you shitting me? Why have the dream battle with Gigan? This should have been a conversation with Mothra instead. Gigan? What was the point of that? Stupid. This is, I think, the last chapter, called The Final Battle. Okay. The Final Battle. And it doesn't even seem that long. Happy Halloween! I've decided to update this as a Halloween present. Also, I literally don't remember anything about the plot of this story, so I'll try my best to make it make sense. Sorry if it doesn't. Sorry about that. Oh, and there will probably be typos. This keyboard sucks. Oh my god. Please kill me. Godzilla used his powerful tail to propel him through the water. It had been a month since he left Thalia, and he was finally about to reach his destination. He could see the shape of an island on the horizon, but it was no ordinary island. It was Monster Island. He recalled the many stories he had heard of when the great volcano erupted, killing thousands, including his mother. He suddenly felt angry. How could the world be so cruel? Taking away a monster before she could even meet her son? Having a monster grow up without a mother? The world was cruel indeed, but Godzilla would just have to accept that. There was nothing he could do about it. He pushed away the thought and swam harder. The island seemed to be growing, and with every stroke, Godzilla's excitement rose. A few of his subjects had told him that a certain monster was hiding out on Monster Island, and Godzilla was going to face him. It would have been nice to see that happen, and have an actual reason, like a real explanation to go there, instead of just this bullshit when they pulled out their ass. The ash felt soft under his feet. Dude, it's been decades. There's still ash? He looked around. What must have been a beautiful island was now covered in ash. Every plant and tree had been burned. He ignored this and kept moving. Now was not the time for sightseeing. He walked around, his nose in the ash, desperately trying to pick up a scent. Had he been lied to? Was his journey in vain? Or had the monster left? Godzilla was just about to give up when something caught his eye. A footprint. Many footprints. A trail. Godzilla fought to keep his excitement down. If he wanted his plan to work, he'd have to be stealthy. Surprise was on his side. He crept as quietly as he could. I guess that's supposed to be as he could. Following the trail, it led to a den. He was surprised that it still stood and had not been burnt down like the others had. He walked too slowly so that he felt like he was moving in slow motion. Then he caught a strange scent. The scent was very faint, and he couldn't tell if he was just imagining it. It smelled like someone he knew. The scent grew stronger, and he finally recognized it. A wave of grief hit him. Be strong. He could hear Mothra's voice. She was with him. Go on. I will always be with you. Be brave. Her words seemed to echo in the air. He took a deep breath and walked forward. He struck his head inside the den. There he was. Even in the darkness of the den, Godzilla could see his golden scales and his 3 heads. They weren't looking at him. He hadn't been spotted. He'd have to give up his element of surprise, though. He had no choice. He looked back. The sun glittered off the ocean's surface. The sky was clear, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. The air was comfortably warm. Godzilla could almost smell the scent of flowers trying to push their way out of the ashes. It was a beautiful sight. Mothra's words rang in his head. Be brave. He narrowed his eyes and barged into the den. The monster jumped, and its 3 heads turned to look at him. You didn't have to give up the element of surprise. You could have just blasted him in the back. Godzilla, my friend! I was wondering when you'd come see me. It looks like you've finally come out of hiding, he said. Yes, I have, but it seems you haven't. His eyes widened. He bared his teeth. I'm not hiding. Are we going to sit here and bicker like hatchlings? I've come to end this. To end you, Ghidorah. He laughed. Is that so? Come on, then, his voice wavered. They walked in a circle, daring each other to make the first attack. Godzilla glanced at his legs. He attacked him there? What kind of sentence is that? He might fall over and then he could get to his throat. But he could flee. Godzilla looked at his wings. If he attacked his wings, then he couldn't get away. But would that expose his throat to Ghidorah? Godzilla looked at other parts of his body, coming up with a plan. When Ghidorah attacked, Godzilla was caught off guard. Ghidorah rammed into his stomach, sending him flying into the wall of the den. The breath was knocked out of him. He scrambled to get on his feet, but not fast enough. Ghidorah attacked him again, this time slashing the skin on his arm with his claws. The wound stung, but it wasn't serious. What was he doing? Had Ghidorah grown weak in his months of hiding? Or was this all part of a plan he had conjured up? Ghidorah backed off and scanned Godzilla's body. Wait, why was Ghidorah... I know the author said they forgot what their story was about at the beginning of this chapter, which is so stupid. Ghidorah was never hiding. Ghidorah was never hiding. He was ruling a territory. He had taken over the mutant territory. So why is Ghidorah hiding? Why? Also, where's Kaiser Ghidorah? They never finished that. What is he planning, Godzilla thought. He pushed himself off, regaining his breath. I don't have time to figure it out, though. Get up to his throat. Get to his throat and rip it out. Rip all 3 of them out. Suddenly filled with energy, Godzilla roared as loud as he could and lunged at Ghidorah, teeth bared, claws outstretched. Ghidorah stood there, like a fawn, frozen in fear. Why is Ghidorah so cowardly at the end of this? Godzilla's body collided with his, and he sunk his teeth into his chest and shredded any skin he could get his claws into. Ghidorah shrieked and tried to push Godzilla off, but was unsuccessful. Godzilla clawed his way to his body and grabbed one of his throats with his teeth. He bit down as hard as he could, feeling his teeth hit bone. Ghidorah roared in pain and anger and flung Godzilla off with his tail. He got up, one of his heads hanging uselessly. 2 more to go, Godzilla thought. Ghidorah swung his tail around and knocked Godzilla to the ground. Godzilla bit his ankle and twisted his head around, ripping off as much flesh as possible. Warm blood flowed down his ankle onto Godzilla's snout. Ghidorah hissed and kicked Godzilla, clawing him right in the throat. Godzilla pushed himself back, his hands going immediately to his throat. Blood dripped down his hands. Luckily, it was only a scratch. He stood up and opened his jaws as wide as he could. The inside of his throat grew hot, and he spit flames from his mouth. Ghidorah roared in pain as the flames hit his flesh. Godzilla smiled triumphantly as the scent of burning flesh filled the den. Ghidorah bent over to lick one of his burns. Was he asking to get killed? Godzilla took this moment and lunged at him. Taking one of his necks in his jaws, he clamped down, just as he did with the other one. Ghidorah tried to shake him off, but was again unsuccessful. Godzilla jumped back. Only one head remained. Godzilla was so close. Once Ghidorah was dead, peace could be restored once again. Mothra, I'm almost there. Excitement bubbled inside him, and he lunged once again. This time Ghidorah was ready for him. He moved swiftly to the side. Godzilla hit the wall in the den head first. Godzilla put his hands onto his head and winced. He pulled his hands back and looked at them. They were covered in his own blood and bone shards. His sight went blurry. No, I can't give up. Godzilla lunged again. Ghidorah didn't try to dodge. Godzilla hung onto his throat. This is it. I've won. This was exactly what Ghidorah wanted. He opened his final jaw as wide as he could, and a bolt of electricity flew from his mouth, right onto Godzilla. His eyes widened and his pupils shrunk. Electricity pulsed through his body, shocking him. He opened his jaws and let out a silent scream. Blood welled from his mouth, eyes, and nose. He fell onto his back, his body convulsing. Ghidorah fell next to him, blood flowing from all three of his necks. Godzilla fought for breath, his sight growing dark. Blood spilled from the multiple wounds. His bloody tongue hung from the side of his mouth. Blood poured from the wound on his head. His eyelids grew heavy. His eyes fell upon the body next to him. He didn't see the rise and fall of Ghidorah's chest. His gaze floated to the ceiling of the den. He could feel a warm breeze coming from the mouth of the den. The scent of flowers returned, only they were stronger. His eyelids grew too heavy to keep them open. He let them close and took his final breath. The end. Mothra Leo, there's like little notes at the end. Mothra Leo was never found. That's dumb. Mothra Leo should have joined in for the final battle. The final battle should have been like Kaiser Ghidorah and King Ghidorah versus Godzilla and Mothra Leo, or Godzilla and Mothra Leo versus King Ghidorah. Anguirus became king and killed both Gigan and Kaiser Ghidorah. I'm fine with Anguirus being king. Gigan was already dead. Did you not remember your very last chapter was about Godzilla fighting Gigan in the afterlife? That was the very last chapter. So you forgot you killed Gigan, even though you just wrote about it. Peace was restored and the monsters would live happily for generations. What a bad ending. That whole chapter was bad. That wasn't a very big battle at all. Now was it? Not a very big battle at all. There were much better fights in this story than that. It seems like the author just couldn't remember what they wanted to write about, and they just were like, screw it, I gotta wrap this story up. So they just did that. It's just Thunder Girl, or fireworks or something. It's around 4th of July time when I'm recording this. See, I live in the South where the 4th of July is like 2 weeks. So, and this is the week that would start that 2 weeks of fireworks, so. But yeah, what a shit ending. They don't even remember details from their own story. I mean, I'm not the biggest continuity buff. In a story like this, your continuity should be tight. But, because once again, I'm not the biggest continuity guy. I usually don't gripe about continuity. Like Godzilla and Gigan has a very loose continuity, my show. I retcon stuff all the time. I retconned how Gigan met Severum. I retconned them being action figures. I've retconned a ton of that. But it seemed like they just gave up at the end. Like they just wanted to end it quickly. Why was Ghidorah hiding? There was no reason for him to be hiding. He was expanding his territory. He was being very aggressive towards everybody. There should have been a big fight about Kaiser Ghidorah. We should have had Mothra Leo in the end. I'm fine with Godzilla dying in the end, because he was a piece of shit that didn't deserve to live anyways. He wasn't even a good guy. He was aggressive towards pretty much everybody. He was a shit dad. He was a shit mate. Probably wasn't even a very good king, to be completely honest, because he didn't ever rule his kingdom. He was always out trying to get vengeance or trying to get laid or something. He was never really running his kingdom. Anguirus was doing all the fucking work. It's insane. Final thoughts on this book. Shit ending. They did a good job of world building, I think. They did a good job of describing things, but their dialogue was really bad. And then they forgot their own continuity towards the end, which is why you make notes, which is why you have author's notes, so you don't do that kind of stuff. I'm writing a book right now, and you might think, who are you to talk about this to someone? You're writing a book, you're blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm actually already a published author, so I can be a bit of an asshole if I want to be. But yeah, I had a lot of problems with this, but it was also a lot of fun to read, and I'm glad I did it. And y'all seem to be enjoying it. I'm getting good comments on every one of these videos. But that's it. I didn't think we were going to finish the story today, but we did. We did twice as much today as I thought we were going to do. Wow. Gucci gang. That's hella Gucci gang. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. I don't know what I'm going to do for B3 Reads next. I could do Anguirus' diary, but I kind of want to do something that's not Godzilla. I want to do something that's not Godzilla. So that's it. Thank you all once again. I'll see y'all later.